I saw one of my dad's friends beat up two guys one time at the same time. They were in a convertible, and my dad's friend, fair enough, he's an enormous man, but that's irrelevant. He's 6'4", 250 or something. But his opening move was to take off his baseball cleat and have that in his hand while he charged at them while they sat in the convertible.
I like that. That's smart.
It's a steel cleat. His second move was to just jump in with them on top of both of them. And they really couldn't do anything because they were wearing seat belts in a convertible. And so now there's an enormous man on top of them pounding them with a steel cleat. And I don't know how big goats' feet are, but it's a lot bigger than he got a special order of those cleats. I know that for sure.
Like a 16 wide, so
something like
that.
At least a 14 or 15, like not even joking. And he beat the shit out of those men with that cleat, and they were so happy to be free when he allowed them to leave. And the other time was my dad beating the shit out of these two guys in a huddled house type restaurant, who had said a few things they shouldn't have, like a Waffle House, Waffle House type restaurant. You know, they got those booths.
Yeah.
They were both sitting on the same side of a booth, and there were some other people across from the two people that he had the issue with were sitting side by side. Well, when my dad jumped on top of them, they were smushed in a booth up against the wall.
Yeah,
so there's
those tables are nailed to the ground. You can't escape.
Tables are nailed to the ground. They couldn't do anything. So he just beat the shit out of both of them in a Waffle
Denny's?
House. I think it was a Huddle House, actually.
You know what? That wasn't even
a Waffle House.
That wasn't even the only fight that day at that place.
that was not there. There was like, get the bucket, get the Sopranos, get the mop, get the mop.
My dad beat up somebody once. Kinda. We were walking out of the movie theater, and I was young. Based on where we lived, I must have been like 12 or 13, which would have put him at like 35, I guess. Mm-hmm. And we come out of the movie theater, and I remember this. There's a guy driving, and he like drives up to these two younger teenagers. I'll call them 14, and like hits the brakes aggressively. The 14-year-olds do like a, hey, like, you know, what are you doing? That's not good driving. Like, you almost hit me, kind of hand gesture. And the driver gets out of the car, and he wants to fight these two kids. He's going to win if this happens, right? Because he's like an 18-year-old.
Yeah, children.
And 18-year-old, and these are like 14-year-olds. Not completely off limits, but like well within a bully's ability to sort of, you know, rough them up. Mm-hmm. My father sees this evolving and decides to protect the two 14-year-olds. And I don't think he predicted that it was going to be a fight. Like, I think he would say, like, oh, this grown man made a rule about no fighting, so I guess I'm out of luck. I think that's how he thought it would go. Mm-hmm. But it didn't. Instead, this 18-year-old is like, well, now I'll beat you up instead. And they wrestled for a bit, and my father had what I'll call top position, but he was on the guy's car. And the two of them smushed the hood in. And I think like that, like a crowd started to gather. Oh, we lost Danny.
Uh-oh.
A crowd started to gather, and you know, it just sort of it broke up, but it was almost like a hockey fight where like you had to just decide, like, oh, well, this guy got the hits in and he landed on top. Dad won. Mm-hmm. You know, like it wasn't like the other guy was fully done, but that's my father's fight, and I think he kind of regretted it. It was like, you know, that might have been bad decision making to get involved, but I was always proud of it. Like, yeah, I'm glad you saved those kids.
Yeah, I've never seen my dad get in a fight in public, ever.
I think I just have one.
That would be weird.
I remember
imagining that is weird.
So he retold that story. Like, I forget. And I was around like his coworkers, and they were roasting him. It was so funny. He's like, "Oh yeah, you keep this up, I jump on the hood, or I'll jump on the trunk. You think I won't dent the doors?" But yeah. Anyway, I thought Dad did a good thing.
You think it's scary to take Woody's tent flap? You take his father's tent flap.
It was a rain fly.
He's too old to win now. Yeah, the rain fly. Man, didn't that turn into a bit of a kerfuffle?
So I was talking to somebody in the Discord yesterday. They were like, "I just watched that. I just watched that clip of Woody threatening Chiz. It's so good.
It is funny because the joke falls apart immediately. It's like,
I knew it would.
we just believes on it. It's fine.
I knew it would fall apart. I think, I don't know if that part's in the video where we're discussing the joke and like setting the joke up. I don't know if that's in there, but even in there, I'm like, this isn't gonna go well.
I felt bullied, and I don't.
Woody doesn't take small slights well.
I guess it is a small slight. In my head, I was just standing up for myself. You know, you don't let yourself get pushed around, and that. And it didn't look great on film.
I thought it was hilarious. I think it's hilarious.
But in my head, it was like because I had previously been like, oh, guys, like I'd asked you to like respect my rain fly, like you were.
That's why we did it, because you'd made such a big deal out of it.
Yeah, I forget what it was.
You drape it over your
Yeah, so the rain fly goes on top. And the thing about rain flies is if you molest them at all, then they stop being waterproof. You know, so
like children.
You don't. Yeah. Yeah, I guess. So anyway, you know, you don't like leave it on the ground or whatever. And I forget what they had done that made me feel like they were like, now my rainfly wasn't going to work anymore. Like, you know, I'll just leave it alone or whatever. And I left and came back, and they had straight up set up what I thought was my rainfly as Chiz's doormat. And there was like, there's trash on it, like
cigarette butts. And
yeah.
Like, we had even taken like wet wipes and like rubbed them in like just the dirt to make it look like shit or something, and thrown like these soiled wet wipes on top of it. Like
you're wasting supplies.
In my head, it was
you know, there's how many wet wipes in a box of wet wipes, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
but in my head, it was like, oh, so I had established this thing as important to me, and they had established that they were going to. What I felt like was
just go the opposite
be abusive towards me and you know, disrespectful, and it was like I didn't want to be pushed around.
It was exactly that, and I feel
like a prank to me.
I don't remember what I said, but I just remember being like, "This ain't gonna go well. This isn't gonna go well." Like I think this is gonna go from like 0 to 60 real quick.
I remember, like, as Woody gets back and starts berating. If I recall correctly, the video, I obviously wasn't there. When Woody gets back and starts berating Chiz, Kyle, you almost like sit up and like cross your legs like Frasier, like I'm just kind of an observer here, you know. I'm just kind of watching the fight.
Like, I can kick the shit out of both of you. we're just like, man, this is great. And in my head, I'm like, if he starts coming over here, we'll tell him. But I think we should keep it going as long as we can.